Hi, hello, good afternoon. Welcome to all to today's international webinar. I'm happy to introduce Dr. Sanjay Agarwal. He is a leading independent researcher, pharmaceutical consultant, and having more than 40 patents. It is very great to hear like a personality who is having more than 40 patents. He is having more than 28 years of industrial experience in formulation, development of solid orals, liquids, nutraceuticals, food products, and also in establishment of pharmaceutical industries. Dr. Agarwal is postgraduate in biochemistry. Really, it is a very happy after completion of his MBBS. By passion, he entered into this biochemistry and developed n number of the units with the formulation developments with liquid orals, nutraceuticals, and all. And then he is an editor-in-chief of several national and international publications and then journals, and he published more than 60 his research articles. Dr. Agarwal received various awards for his valuable support and contribution in healthcare and pharmaceutical sector. Dr. Agarwal is a great visionary and believes initiative in bridging the gap between industry and academia. This is a very important role he played in fulfilling the gap between the industry and academia so that students may update every day-to-day developments to lead their future to the global standards. Welcome to the Dr. Sanjay Garu. Welcome.
Thank you, Namaskar.
Welcome, Dr. Sanjay Agarwal. Sir, I would like to ask that what are the after effects of COVID-19 pandemic on healthcare and pharmaceutical industry?
Namaskar, welcome to everybody, and especially thanks to Operant Pharmacy Federation for inviting me on this panel discussion. And I'm very happy to see such a great personalities. They are with me on the board, and it will be very great pleasure. A very important question is being asked by Madam Anshu. There will be a lot of changes after this pandemic, after COVID-19. And the most important is on the healthcare and pharmaceutical industry. There will be four challenges will be there. And number one, the medicine demand and supply issues. Number two, engagement with the healthcare professional, that is the doctors. And number three, the clinical development, that is CRO, and the new product launches. And fourth, the future healthcare system and pharmaceutical industry environment. So overall, after the lockdown in the pharmaceutical, especially the Indian industry, the domestic industry, there will be a number of changes. Number one, the availability of the manpower will be the primary concern. Number two, only the industry will able to utilize less than 60%, but much higher than the other industry. We are going to have utilize our capacity to only 60%, not more than the update. Reason is very simple, because due to the lack of the manpower in India. And but if I compare to other industry like the IT, automobiles, I think this healthcare industry will be in much better shape. Number three, logistic challenges, especially for the transport, for the export as well as for domestic business. And fourth, the heavy stocks will be available with the customers and distributors. And fifth, the drugs approval will be very faster with the Ministry of Health or with the DCGI FSSAI, especially more related to coronavirus. We are directly talking to the vaccines. We are talking more about the antiviral drugs. And we are more serious about the domestic market, because domestic market will have as a better role and will have better role as compared to export business from India due to various reasons. If we see the domestic market, there a lot of changes will be there, but changes will be on the positive direction. We are going to gain it. We are not going to lose it. No. So there will be high sales in certain states. Whatever the figures I am giving, this is all which we have done the pilot study, and that study has reflected these these figures, these statistics, no? So high sales will be there like Maharashtra, Delhi, Andhra Pradesh, Telangana, Rajasthan, Madhya Pradesh, Gujarat, and Uttar Pradesh. Sales will be more than 50%. 7% will be moderate sales. And the manufacturing burden will be there. The hub, especially to Himachal, Uttarakhand, Sikkim, and the most burden in the manufacturing will be on the Maharashtra and Telangana and Andhra. And health infrastructure, especially we are talking of Madhya Pradesh and Uttar Pradesh. Among the high to moderate burden, the states have been poor infrastructure and could see the delayed recovery because the infrastructure is not there, and that is why they are not able to cope up the situation. These two important states like Madhya Pradesh and Uttar Pradesh. And then we come to the around 55%, the functional plants, they will operate. They will operate, but they are going to operate the capacity of 60% because the low manpower. I'm talking about the functional units. Those have the big units. They have a turnover of more than 500 crores in India. There is another, the small units which have a turnover of 49, around less than 500 crore. They are going to perform only 49%. They are not going to produce, and they are not going to match with the demand and the supply due to the insufficient amount of the raw material. If I go to the functional unit, if the segment wise, you'll find the functional unit, they will produce only 43% of their capacity. The antiviral, they are going to produce only 50%. The antibiotic, they are going to produce only 55%. Analgesic, they are going to produce only 57%. And anti-allergic, they are going to produce only 58%. If I go to non-functional units, those are less than 500 crores, they will produce only 30% anti-malaria. Because the raw material will not available, API will not be available with them. The antiviral will be only 20%, antibiotic will be 19%, analgesic will be 15%, and anti-allergic will be 14%. If I go to the reporting insufficient API stocks, manufacturers, their status about regarding to production, the anti-malarial, they are going to produce only 50%. Antiviral will be 40%, antibiotic will be 48%, analgesic will be 37%, anti-allergic will be 50%. There will be shortages at the distributor level, at the stockist level. The anti-malaria will be available only 50%. The antiviral will be only 60%. Antibiotics will be 59%. Analgesic will be 52%. Anti-allergic will be 50 to 50%. Basically, will be great gap between the demand and the supply. The most of the factors which we observed during our survey, that was the manpower. The another factor which is going to impact on the industry, that is the raw material production in the states. No? The operational, what will be the effect on the operational areas in the pharmaceutical industry after the COVID-19? The 65% stockists will reduce their working hours only 4 hours a day due to the labor problem. My distributors, my stockists, they will work only for 4 hours instead of 8 to 9 hours because the labor problem is there, the manpower is not available. Then we talk 50% stock will operate with the 50% workforce. Normally they require 100%, but due to the manpower will not be available after COVID-19. So only the 50% workforce will be with them, and that is why their performance will be only 65%. That is why there is a gap between the patient and the stockist. The patient will not receive the right amount of the drug with them. The sales will decrease by 50% and no impact on the inventory level. The general inventory level will maintain, and 70% companies will increase credit periods. Actually, the credit period in India, normally where we see, it is around 30 days. They give 30 days to the retailers, to the chemists. But after the COVID-19, their credit period will be more than 60 to 90 days. So the cash flow will be somewhere, it will be hampered. And 65% stock is sales with the OTC product, not the prescription product. The OTC product means patient will go and directly he will talk about the drug. He will go and talk about the branded molecule, not with generic. No, that will be a straight impact on the industry. See, the prescription, the size of the prescription will be reduced with the branded and with the generic. No, and if we see on the clinicians, what will be effect on the clinician, what will the effect on the doctors? So the doctors, around 57% Indian doctors, they will start having inclination for the Indian companies, not the multinational companies. They will give the more priority to the Indian companies than the multinational companies. And the doctors, they will require more on 66% scientific update on new drugs. Because the time has come after COVID-19, a lot of new molecules will come. And when the companies will launch the new molecules, because this era will be the branded era, not the generic era. Right now also in India, it's not generic, it is a branded. After COVID-19, it's become more branded. So in my one of the survey when we did with the chemists, we saw that the OTC brand will take better shape over the prescription shape. So that is where the doctors, they will get the information from the companies. They will ask more about the scientific information. They will ask more the clinical information. They will ask around 42% safety profile of the drug because the drug is new for them, So they will ask for 42%. That is why I mentioned in that the CRO will be very important. The clinical research organization, they will remain more alert and active in the after COVID-19 because new molecules will come and they will engage more and more in clinical trial. One is for the approval from the government authorities. Number two, to satisfy my clinician. And around 42% they will ask for clinical data or for the new molecule. And doctors' interaction with the patient. There will be great change. After the COVID-19, the 82% doctors, they will entertain on the phone calls instead of the personal meeting. Due to the hygienic condition, still in the back of the mind, they have some psychological. They want to maintain the distance, with the patient. So they will entertain the phone calls around 82%. 78% they will talk on the WhatsApp, and 41% on SMS. Around 29% they will entertain the emails. They will try to reply and they will try to get the patient's complaint. And around 11% on the video call. If the patient is sick and not able to come to the clinic, probably they will request the patient attendant to go to and give me the video call. And around 10% the live digital. It's become very popular now. The live digital. So these will be overall impact after the COVID-19 on the domestic business. As I mentioned, the export business will be is going to lose extensively after COVID-19, which we have already seen from last 3 months. The shape of export is very bad as compared to the domestic. Maybe if we see the last 3 months performance in domestic market, it was quite increasing. Lockdown was there, but the sales, the impact of the sales were not very high as we were having in our mind about, but it was up to the satisfactory. Thank you very much.
So, which therapeutic segment will get affected much?
As such, if we see the therapeutic areas, like hematinics and progesterone in gynec will decline significantly. Number two, the wellness treatment, like multivitamin, food supplements, as well emollients, they will hit the market. Nutraceutical, because the patients and general public, they have in their mind about to immunize their body. They want to take body immunizers. They want to enhance the body immunity, and that is why they will jump on nutraceutical. So nutraceutical hit the market in after COVID-19. The antibiotics will decline, especially the oral antibiotic will decline extensively. Yes, the injectable parenteral antibiotic will gain extensively, and antifungal will decline. Macrolides, a class of the antibiotic, like especially azithromycin, will drastically increase. And among the chronic care, plain angiotensin receptor blockers or dual hypertensive, they will increase, but increase very minimum, not beyond our expectation. As a prophylactic, the increase will be 87%. As a preventive drug, immunity boosting agents such as vitamin C, vitamin D, zinc, other respiratory drugs like cough, cold, anti-allergic, anti-asthmatics, they will gain by 87%. And the potential treatment like anti-malarial, especially chloroquine, hydroxychloroquine, anti-infective like azithromycin, antiviral, lopinavir and ritonavir, definitely they will grow by 87%. And critical care, the drugs which are used for critical care, it will take the jump around 78%, especially meropenem, cefoperazone, vaccines, BCG, hepatitis. These are the areas, because these are being used for the acute respiratory disorder, and that is why the critical care medicine will take the very important, there will be growth. And if you see the specifically therapeutic area, they like in anti-infective, probably they will decline by 16%. The cardiac will gain by 6%. The gastro will decline around 9%. The anti-diabetic will gain by around 2.4%. Vitamin will lose. It will decline by 6%. Respiratory will decline around 8%. Pain and analgesia will decline around 7%. Dermatological products will decline around 6%. Neurological and central nervous system related products will gain around 4.8%. And gynecological will decline by 9%. As I mentioned earlier also, due to the hormone is a basic drug which is used by the gynecologist. So they are going to lose around 9%. The oncology will further decline. 5% patients are there, but the attitude of the COVID-19, the attention will be there on the acute stage, not on the chronic stage. That is why the oncology section will decline. Hormones will further decline around 5%. Ophthalmic and otological will decline by 20%. Vaccine will gain. It will around 6%. Urology will decline. Blood related will gain around 12%. Others will decline around 0.4%. And sex stimulant will decline by 30%. Stomological will gain the market around approximately 1.3%. Anti-malarial will gain 10%, which is obvious, because after the COVID-19, even during the COVID-19, it was a very good market. If you see the Indian players, I am talking the first 10 companies. What is the status of 10 companies? Whether they have maintained the status, they are going to maintain the status or not. So like there are certain companies, they will reshuffle. As per our statistics, the Sun Pharma will have the first position in India, which have around market share probably 8.4%. Abbott will be second number, which will grow by 6.9%. Shipla will maintain on third position. As such, if we see the horoscope, the Shipla, which is before the COVID, after the COVID, they are maintaining the third position due to their innovation style, due to their innovative ideology. That is why they are maintaining on third position, and they will grow. They will take the market share of around 5%. Mankind, they are also maintaining their status around 4.3%. Lupin, it's with on fifth position, and approximately 3.9% will be market share. Torrent will be on sixth position, 3.7% will be market share. Alkem in 7th position, it is a shifted, Alkem has gone up, it was on 9th number, but probably they will come on the 7th position with the market share of 3.4%. Intrans has also improved. Probably they will improve the position and by 3.2% market share. Zydus has declined, It was on 7th or 8th position, but they have come to 9th position due to various reasons, 3%. And Macrolides, they also improved their position. They were in 12th position, but now probably we are predicting they will come on the 10th position with a market share of 2.9%. And probably the Stars brand, The Stars brand will be there, like Mixtard, it's our insulin preparation. Volini, Becasol, Dexorange, Essilog, Gmar, Tan, Galvasmat, Lee 52, Pan D, Thyronorm, Shalcal, Glycomet GP, and Dufeston. These will be star brands, because as our survey has mentioned earlier, the OTC will be dominated after COVID-19 as compared to the prescription-oriented brand. And the prescription doctors are searching and observing for the new molecule. This could be one of the reasons. That is why they are going to lose the conventional products. Conventional, they were asking for the innovation molecule, new molecules. So this is the overall scenario that will have a impact, in the therapeutic segment after COVID-19. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir, to explain the after effect of COVID-19 pandemic and the effect on therapeutic segment. Kindly throw some light that what are the effect on employment after COVID-19 in pharmaceutical industry?
As such, the pharmaceutical industry in the domestic market, is definitely, it will be in double digit. Most of the first 10 companies in which I have spoken, they all are growing, though nobody is negative. And the good and planned companies, strategically companies, they have maintained their position, and some of the companies have changed the position. Like I said about the Mankind, it was on 7th, but it will come on 4th. And same in Intas has improved the position. Macleod has improved the position. And there is another news, because the companies, those were in China, they have taken the approval from the health ministry to install their API units. Around 1,000 companies have already got the license. They are already going to install the production of the API, especially the intermediates. So when such industry, these manufacturing plants will come and they are going to set up their manufacturing facility in India, definitely the employment will not be a very big issue for the pharmaceutical. The pharmaceutical, there will not be any scarcity, and the employment will improve, I think, as compared to before the COVID and after the COVID. I think employment will be more and more. Only the labor, those are unskilled, where we'll get some problem. But employment will not be a problematic issue in the pharmaceutical. I am talking with the pharmacist. The demand will be more. The regulatory, the more scope will be there. CRO, they will ask more pharmacists, For they definitely they require a qualified people for conducting the clinical trials, regulatory dossier formation and all. I think the employment will not be a challenge after COVID-19, especially the qualified. The doctors, they will also fully engaged, because a lot of new molecules will come, a lot of clinical trials will be conducted at various places, various centers. So unskilled and skilled, both will be occupied. As compared to other industry, if I talk about the automobiles, IT, textiles, I think healthcare industry will be very in better shape as compared to the COVID-19. We are very optimistic. The data which we have generated after doing the market, the survey, it is quite enthusiastic. It's quite enthusiastic. So the employment will not be a very big issue. The employment, they will be, I think there is a good scope. The unemployment ratio in pharmaceutical will be lower as compared to textiles, auto, and IT section. Thanks.
Thank you, Dr. Sanjay Agarwal. We have now session remark by Dr. Gampa.
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Sanjay Garu. And then before going to giving remarks, I would like to ask only one question with the permission of Chair. Shall we expect any changes in thought process of human beings due to this COVID-19?
Can you repeat your question, because voice is breaking somewhere?
Yeah, any changes, any observations? Shall we expect any change in observations in living conditions of thought process thought process of human being.
Yes, this is a pure evidence, And not only we are talking about the general public, even my clinicians, Clinicians psychologically, they have a something in their mind, and that is why they are going to entertain my patient around 82% on the phone calls. They will not meet personally to my patients, and their entire life and career, they have not worked on the email. But after COVID-19, around they will 41% they will entertain SMS, and around 29% they will entertain on email. As such, clinicians normally they don't entertain the electronic media. They always boycott the electronic media. But after the COVID-19, see, because they're the hard immunity, their immunity, they feel the patient who is going to come to me, probably he may coronavirus, he may be the positive. So they will not entertain. And not surprisingly, I'm sure there are certain doctors have cultivated and created a long length stethoscope. The stethoscope they will give to my patient and talking on the 5 meter. Not on the centimeter, 5 meter. They will ask to my patient, take the stethoscope and talk to me from the 5 meter. So video calls. So this is the dramatic changes after the COVID-19. So somewhere very, very happy that because doctors are very conservative, they don't use the dynamic, they are not so much dynamic, and they don't accept the electronic media. They don't entertain. But I'm sure after the COVID-19, they will become a very young, like a school and college going, and they will work with the electronic media. So we are very happy. Even the patients, they will not travel from the home. They will talk and make the call, and they will take the remedy, from my doctor's friend. And when they type on my email or on the video calls or on my WhatsApp, the spelling will be correct, The spelling of my medicine will be correct. It not be like a zigzag. So it can be easily readable by my patient, readable by my chemist also. That will be a great achievement of the COVID-19.
Sure. Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Sanjay Agarwal, presenting the economical impact and social, like in living condition, normal human public, and then operational and impact of development during COVID-19. And then I strongly believe by following all these formalities and then usual distance maintenance and all these WHO guidelines, we can lead ourselves to globally. Thank you. Thank you, one another.
My pleasure.